So glad to have you here. We've been watching bootlegs from Elvis Costello's tour for a while. It's been amazing. I can't believe how great his shows are. Still trying to find out what these songs are about. Hopefully someday I'll find out. I don't know what they're about. I think I know sometimes and then I'm not sure. So to me this is like the funnest game to try to find out what Elvis is saying. Will we ever find out? Will we? Oh my goodness. What an adventure. So that's the adventure I'm on to try to figure out what's going on with Elvis Costello. As I've been saying for months, I'm having spiritual experiences that are very, very, very unusual. And I don't know how to talk about them without seeming really out there. And the worst part is it involves famous people, which makes it the worst because then nobody's going to believe me. But I did go through a book by Allan Kardec, who was someone who studied spirituality. And it's very interesting that most of us have not heard of Allan Kardec because his approach to spirituality was very methodical. Any Virgo would be very proud of how he went about it. He interviewed mediums and channels, and then he looked at what they all had in common, and he just wrote it down like anything else. And that is an inspiration for me. We're just going to go through the patterns, develop them, and try to find out what's going on here. Because when I tell you that I'm telepathic with someone who is alive but cannot call me because I've been blacklisted by the banking dynasty that somehow has gotten control of almost everything on the planet. Oh my goodness, how wild. So they got control of everything. It seems like even before I was born in 1973, I was born onto their global plantation, the place that they own, and we're told we're free. So obviously, if I tell the truth, I get blacklisted by this banking dynasty, and then after that, they came up with a story. Them and their oligarch friends and their blackmailed friends who are at the top of all these organizations that hand down Nuremberg Code violating rules. That now there's a story that they've created so healthy people can be permanently quarantined, and I'm one of those people who is being permanently quarantined. I can't participate in travel. I can't participate in Elvis's concerts. I'm finding out that he's my twin flame. And how do I know he's my twin flame? Because I heard it telepathically. Anyway, so that's how it works. But I'm showing the pattern, and I have been showing this for years, that astrologically I can back up that I have a strange situation with Napoleon himself. And I'm really out on a limb on this stuff, and I know that. But I do everything I can to show that I am telling a story that has absolutely no holes in it. And part of how I am showing down to the deepest astrology, I can show you this story. That's my point. I know I'm saying things that are completely not believable, even to myself, but it keeps happening to me. So the more it happens, the more I have to believe it. And I'm most certainly not going to match up my expectations against what I heard on television or the movies my whole life or in magazines. That's the banking dynasty brainwashing us. So we have to go by our own experiences. And not everything they say is untrue, but we are being deceived about the most basic things. And one of those very basic things that we are deliberately being deceived about is spirit. We're told that there's no afterlife, there's no reincarnation. All we have is right now, and material preoccupations are the most important thing. Be very scared of death. Oh no, you'll die, you'll die. All this, it's all programming. And we've been put into a very unnatural state, on this banker dynasty human plantation that we live on. We're just so conditioned to be docile and to not ask questions and to not look at what's happening to us. So it is my hope that I can be very, very honest about the strange experiences that I'm having, and they do involve famous people. And I'm glad they're famous. That's wonderful. I'm glad that's terrific. They just so happen to be famous. But the other thing that's great about them being famous is that we can start thinking about fame and how it affects us. Because I will tell you something, I mean, I know the banking dynasty is pretending I'm not famous, and they're having all their stooges pretend that I'm not in existence, and that is backfiring. I hope they know that been backfiring on them. But despite this, when my project did take off, and it did, people changed around me. So I have a taste of that. I have a taste of, and I just kind of blew up in the Hamptons quickly, and then um, the change, and this is it's a very intense place in a way, the Hamptons, because basically the media summers here. So when things blow up here, they blow up a little bigger than in just a regular town in Argentina, I guess. So uh, people really change to anyone that they feel is being like elevated a little bit, and it triggers people, and they like can't control themselves. And it's not that they become evil or anything. It, it like assaults their ego, and the way we've been programmed by television and school and all of this brainwashing that the banking dynasty forces on us. We're programmed to think that like success is everything and money is everything and attention is everything. So we're given this very like narcissistic outlook deliberately. And then, oh, someone else is getting something that I'm not getting. That's horrible. It's this scarcity mentality that we're being brainwashed into. So if somebody gets something, oh no, somebody got something, it's less for me. Like we're all fighting over the last donut. That's the mentality. There's no last donut. There's plenty for everybody. We need to get out of that. I have all of this jealousy, resentment. I mean, I could talk to you all the time about all the insecurities, and I am no stranger to these things. But there is enough for everybody, and we don't have to be this jealous. We don't have to be this resentful. I think there is enough for everyone. Anyway, I'm rambling. I know that. But I guess I need to. So I've been really examining George Ivan Van Marson's chart today. This is one of the, I rambled really bad because I'm hearing Van Marson now, and I know that makes it even weirder. But if somebody's going to talk to me telepathically, it's going to be Van Marson. So the story's still congruent. It's not like I'm seeing like Bill Gates came through to me. Bill Gates is probably telepathic too, but hopefully not anywhere I am, if you know what I mean. Please, please. Maybe he's a wonderful person. Who knows? Oh my goodness. Anyway, so I am hearing Mr. George Ivan, and the internet did not break today. I didn't get any angry dogs at the door telling me to stop talking about George Ivan's chart. So I'm going to take that as a green light, and I'm going to continue talking about George Ivan's chart. I'm going to hope that he understands that everything I do is with love and appreciation, admiration, respect. I don't have anything but that for him. I I just have gratitude. I don't even have a complaint, basically. That's my point. I don't even have a complaint about him. I don't know. I don't know about his life. I never read press about him. I just want everybody to know this. I'm somebody who really doesn't know much about him because I don't like asking questions. I don't like prying into people's lives. It's just I'm self-absorbed enough, It's true. So, I, did he have 2 wives? He's a few children. I think he has a daughter around my age. I really don't know. I do know he has a daughter a little bit older than me, a beautiful woman and a great singer, a very talented woman. And I'm sure he's very proud of her. So with respect, I'll look at his chart, and what we're looking for is patterns. And we all know the situation that we're in. I have two legendary musicians who are talking to me telepathically and have been so supportive, but they can't say my name because I've been blacklisted by the people that own the music business. So that's the proof that one person owns the music business, because one person could blacklist me to the musicians. Even the musicians who uh they clearly support me, and thank you. It means everything to me. I can't even tell you how much it means to me. So they work for somebody who says they can't talk about me, but they do like me. And they were put in a terrible position because the music business is owned by one person. And then what is George Ivan Van Morrison saying? He's saying they own the media, you know, and then they come out with all their tricks and games like they always do. And it's just tricks and games, and they attacked him and falsely accused him, and he was very persecuted. But who persecuted him? Who was the good guy in that situation? So we we really did determine yesterday that he's a persecuted saint, and that was from his chart. His chart told me that. I didn't say, oh, he's a persecuted saint, let me find a way to make that fit. Not at all. His chart is the chart of a persecuted saint. And why do I say that? I say that because it's so obvious. He's an artist, and Jupiter is in Libra. That's the art Libra, and it's just. And he is a Jupiter type person because he has that great spirituality and that expansive mind. And he's also larger than life, and he's famous, and he's benevolent. So there's your Jupiter in Libra. It's a very holy energy, Jupiter. And then he has Neptune and Chiron aligned with it. So this is a Jupiter that's about healing and about spirituality. Jupiter's already about healing and spirituality. It really is. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. The patterns are so obvious when the chart really wants to tell you, like, this is what we're telling you. This is a saint. So they put 3 planets on top of it. I don't know how it works, but it's in Libra. He's an artist who's a saint. He wants to heal. He wants to heal himself. He wants to heal others. He wants to share his spirit. He's always been a great mystic. Jupiter, Neptune, Chiron. He's always been a great mystic. No one questions whether he's on a mystical journey. He is, and I want us to support him 100% so he can get exactly where he needs to go. And I do believe he asked me to look at his chart, and he asked me to look at our synastry, and I do see a very, very fated encounter. And I've been trying to get a handle on a very complicated astrological concept called the vertex. Oh, wow, this is hard to understand. Okay, so the vertex is a calculation in a chart. It's not a body, and it's calculated somehow between knowing where the ascendant and the sun and the moon are. And then you find out this place that's usually on the side of the chart where the descendant is. That's the right side of the chart. That's your place of other people. So the idea that I get without too much rambling is this is out there in your place of others, which could be the 6th house, the 7th house, the 8th house, maybe even the 5th house. Okay, so those are all the way you're dealing with the rest of the world, the other people. Okay, so your vertex is usually going to appear somewhere. If you're looking at the chart like we are, you're looking at these Astrodean's charts or whatever charts, whatever internet charts that we're using. Okay, so you'll see that vertex if you ask for it. Okay. And then you look at the synastry with the other person and you see what they have there. And that could indicate like a fated encounter, or it could be the beginning, like when you meet somebody, that moment, and you can see like what are the planets doing? Is Venus there? These are the kind of questions that I think surround the vertex. It's this, some call it an eternal ascendant. It's like your soul's purpose, or how you come across within. It's so hard to pin down what the vertex is. I've tried and tried and tried to just say, what is it? Okay, fine. So, since it is so difficult to understand, boy, have I tried. We look at it, we'll just look at the definitions on the internet, see what they're saying, see if it applies, and then see if it applies for us. That's the whole method that I'm trying to apply here. We go on the internet, and I don't care if it's a charlatan site, I don't care if it's tarot cards, I don't care what it is. What are they saying? Even if it's the bait on a hook, what are they saying about this concept? We have to get it from them. It's their stuff, okay? So we pull it in and we find out. And we know what Venus is. We know what Mars is. So we know when it's right to a large degree now. And now we've chosen our indicators, our planets, our asteroids, our stars, the way what we're going to worry about now. There's lots of other stuff we could check out. And then we're going to keep seeing, how does it come up for us? That's the only way we're going to learn the truth. And hopefully we can come up with a powerful system where we can heal ourselves and others and move forward. That would be amazing. That's the goal here. So we'll create our own understanding, and we won't rely on anyone else for it. So this is like astrology you can trust because you were a part of it. And we did this together. So we're going to find out what are the patterns with vertex, and then maybe we'll find out what the vertex is. So why do I keep talking about the vertex? Because I'm looking at a grouping of, let's just call them indicators, because vertex isn't really a thing, it's an indicator. Let's just call it that. George Ivan's planets are, the whole thing's a stellium. So I'm breaking it down into tinier stelliums. So he's got these three, I'll just call them indicators, in Scorpio: Black Moon Lilith, Vesta, and Ceres. Okay. So Black Moon Lilith, we talked about her. She's that wild-eyed, scary chick who is capable of anything, but she's probably right about whatever she's mad about. That's her. That's almost a trope in movies. Like, I almost want to think of like Carrie Fisher in the Blues Brothers or something. She's like, she's gonna get you, and she's probably right what she's mad about. That's to me Black Moon Lilith. Let's just do that version, because they make her like a demon baby eater or something. I don't want to see her that way. I want to see her as the way I described her. Don't mess with her. She's never gonna forget. She's basically vengeance incarnate. But sometimes, sometimes there does need to be a boundary. And if the law enforcement is run by the worst criminals who've ever walked the face of the planet, by far, what are we supposed to do? Just let them kill us? Of course, the law enforcement is full of people who want to defend their countries. It's just that one guy, that one black-mailed guy, that one guy. He says, that's the rules. Well, he's very outnumbered. And he hasn't been that cool anyway, has he? I bet he hasn't. So those are our overseers on the plantation. That is our planet. And we all have overseers. And we all know exactly who they are. And they're career criminals, all of them. They all did 9/11. So if you let them know, we know you did 9/11, and we can prove it. It's very easy to prove who did 9/11. I can prove Snap my fingers and prove people did 9/11. It's so easy because of the way technology was by then. We can prove pretty much everybody who did 9/11. That's so easy. So easy. See, that's not the problem. The problem is that the criminals have put their 9/11 people running law enforcement. See, so that people who did 9/11 probably shouldn't be running law enforcement anymore. See, that's a Black Moon Lilith energy. She's right. Okay? So that's Black Moon Lilith, I can understand, no problem. It's for texting. Oof. Anyway, vengeance, I understand very well. You know? Anyway, so George Ivan has the Black Moon Lilith just like I do. Mine's pretty close to the top of the chart. So there you go. So we're looking at George Ivan's Black Moon Lilith because he's got that too in him. He is a he's a fighter. He is a fighter, and he has that Mars on his ascendant. So this is another like fighter spot. We love to see the fighter. He's a great fighter, and he's so passionate. This is the fighter. So it's in Scorpio, and he's ready to dig up those secrets. He's ready to fight dirty. That's Scorpio. He's ready to fight in a powerful and spiritual manner. He has that Black Moon in a Scorpio. And sometimes they say Black Moon Lilith has the energy of something that you like feel kind of ashamed of expressing. So, Scorpio would be very like sexy and powerful and kind of nasty, but maybe nasty in a sexy way or something charismatic. Maybe he doesn't feel like being that that dark scorpionic. That's funny because Elvis is very dark scorpionic, and and as much of a fighter as George Ivan is, he has a very ethereal, pure feeling to him. Always. It's funny. Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable being like expressing his darkness because he doesn't seem that dark. It's funny. He always had like a lightness to him, in spite of everything, in spite of all the terrible things that we've been through. Anyway, so maybe that is true. That's what I'm saying. We're trying to test the concepts up against what we know. Okay, so he has right by that Vesta. Vesta. Okay. That's keeping the flame going, the focus. You never quit. You keep fighting. And Napoleon, I always think of Napoleon with the sacred fire because Napoleon loved when someone had the sacred fire. And those are really the only people he could count on. If you have the sacred fire, you have to fight for what's right. And I just love that Napoleon put it that way. And that's actually the symbol of Vesta. So we should add that to the Vesta story because it is basically what I'm trying to say is somehow the influence of this asteroid has this kind of devoted, zealous, focused service kind of vibe to it somehow. There's an energy. Who knows how this works, right? So the asteroid has this sacred fire feel. And then there's these stories that they tell you about them. Oh, Vesta was the Vestal whatever in Rome, and then they tell you the story. But the story doesn't matter. And I think we can change the stories as long as we get how that feels. Okay, so Vesta is devotion. I mean, we all know what devotion. I hope I explained it. It doesn't even matter if it's about fire. It's really about the devotion to keep the fire going. The feeling always like seems to come first. Okay, so he's a Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio, and he's a Vesta in Scorpio. So this is somebody who's very deep and more dark than you think, and he's gonna fight to the bitter end. He's not gonna just let people do things like this to him. Yeah, Scorpio's a fighter, and on top of that, he has a Saris there, so I did tell the story of Saris. Saris is about the woman who loses her daughter to Hades, to Pluto Hades, and he takes the daughter off, Persephone, and the mother's so sad she doesn't want to grow anything anymore. And then they make a deal that the daughter can come back half the year, so there's crops half the year and there's no crops when Persephone goes back to Hades with Pluto or whatever. I'm saying it wrong, doesn't matter. Anyway, all right, but the point is the story doesn't matter. It's about loss, it's about food, it's about caring, it's about um different realms. And then you start to get the feeling, what's okay, it's that feeling, that feeling where you love someone but you can't be with them, um and you want to do nice things and you can't. Oh, I'm gonna cry anyway. So he has this very nurturing energy with that. Okay, so this says everything about him. You know, he just wants to help people and nurture them, and he has his Scorpio methods, and that's through information warfare, which he's been doing his whole life. I'm sure consciously he is fighting. He is a spiritual fighter, and you can see that this is a very empathetic fighter. And it's making no aspects, which is also very interesting. I think it's just so unusual in his chart that the sun is making no aspects except with Juno, which is this like Venus, cute, sweet, serious, loving, dedicated kind of Venus love energy. So he's just all about love. He's known for love songs. In Virgo, making no aspects, but he has Pars Fortuna there, so he's like isolated, but he's lucky, which he does seem to be. I don't want to say isolated, but he does keep to himself. There's no question. He doesn't really mix that much for as high profile as he is. Wow, this is really interesting. Anyway, so I went through all the charts after I looked into George Ivan's chart, and all of this is on the astrology report. Everything I looked up, I just put there, and there's hyperlinks in there if you want to find out what site but I took it from anywhere if it looked right, even if it was I thought it was the bait on a hook. I thought it's good bait. I'll take the bait. I'm happy to take bait anytime. So so beware of those sites. Anyway, so then I went through everything. And the interesting thing, yeah, then I went through the synastry. So the next thing about that fighter lineup in Scorpio that George Ivan has, okay, where he's just like, just a paladin. He's such a paladin. He is a paladin. I don't want to make a joke of anything. He is a paladin. The project is funny, but I'm recognizing that he's a paladin. He's not a paladin because I said so. He's either way. He is a paladin, and he's a saint. He's a saint, a paladin. So, oh my goodness, everybody, we need to support the heroes. He's a hero. He's a genuine hero. He deserves. They should be throwing parades to him. Okay. I just listened to a whole story Elvis told about his glorious Grammy win. These are good stories. I like them. Okay, so I got this story. Oh my goodness. What a world we're in. Uh, anyway, so I'm looking right now at the synastry chart between George Ivan and me. Okay, so he's this like badass fighter, but so caring. In Scorpio, just right where you want that stuff if you want to be tough, and he's tough. It's all right in that this big shot seventh house with the sun and Mercury that I keep talking about. There's an indicator in my chart that there's a big shot in my house of relations, the seventh house. It's almost like spouses and enemies. It's really, really your partners. Okay, it's not like your friends, it's your partners. So people are really important to you. And there's the sun there. So the focus of my life is this other person. This other person is more important than I am in my own chart. It's really interesting. It's taken me a long time to understand this. It's not easy. And it's conjunct Mercury. So it's like a media celebrity. And it's Scorpio. So it's something to do with like secrets and power. See, so it's really a media celebrity. I have a huge media celebrity there. I'm realizing that. And my enemy owns the media. So my enemy, this couldn't fit him better. It couldn't fit. He owns the media. And he's the most famous person you've never heard of. Scorpio. So he's hiding. He's so famous, but Scorpio, it perfectly describes my enemy. And it describes Elvis and this mystery person who was a big shot, and Matt Lauer, because I only got so mad at Matt Lauer because I had that horrible experience previous to Matt Lauer. See, so I can show you bang, bang, bang. There they all are, these big shots over there in the seventh house. It's really funny. This is a great thing that we're digging up, because we're digging up facts. These patterns are not arguable. They can do all their cute little games about anything they want. These are facts. That's the charts. Okay. So over and over and over again, I have these media big shots. Some of them are enemies. Some of them are friends. It's really interesting. Well, obviously, one of them is George Ivan. So it'd be really interesting to check if astrology is backing that out. And it is, because that's exactly where my big shot seventh house is where he has all these Black Moon Lilith, devotion, and sacred fire. It's right in my sun. You could look at it. It's really funny. It's really mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Right. Anyway, please help me. Please help me. Please, big shot, help me. I would appreciate any help. I will do everything to express my gratitude. That is so sincerely felt. Anyway, so we went on and on and on. Oh, no, there's another one. It's like even better. This is the best one. Okay, so we get these two big shots. And my enemy, who's even bigger than everybody else. So I get 3 big shots right now. Let's get this. That Black Moon Lilith is right by my sun. See, he's bringing his Black Moon Lilith to my sun. My sun is my famous prominence. They're trying to hide me. See, Scorpio. They're trying to hide me. And then they're coming in. They're like undoing it. Black Moon Lilith is like doing the right thing. Okay, so then Elvis is the same exact thing. You will let the same fact. That's a fact. Okay, so you can go and look at all these charts. I wrote it all out. These are facts. That's the end of it. Proven. They both have their Black Moon Lilith helping my son. It's funny because it's so literal. Anyway, I'm just going to drop it. These are new facts. We're just going to start declaring facts. Okay? That is protest activist energy. Not arguable. I'm talking about Black Moon Lilith. What are they doing? They're protesting. And they have their sun. Okay? Their sun. My sun is right by there, Black Moon Lilith. It's incredible. There's another one too. My sun is on George Ivan's vertex. Okay, so it's this like faded thing, if whatever. And I have the same thing with Elvis too. I can't remember the planet, but definitely both. So this is really interesting. Okay, and there's another one I'm going to show you. It's unbelievable. Like, I'm building up to the real one. This is crazy. There's big stuff going on. Anyway, I'm going to drop it. I have rambled enough. Here's another one of these letters from Napoleon to Josephine. She's broken his heart. He's given up. He's miserable. He can't be with the only woman he loves, which is his stepdaughter. She's his sister-in-law, mother of his nephews. He's not even going to think about it. His life's a nightmare. And he's like putting all of that energy into trying to win or stupid goals or ambition, or he's just channeling all of that energy that he really wants to pour into his love and adoration for his stepdaughter. This is the truth. He has all this love for his stepdaughter and he can't express any of it. So he throws himself into these glorious things. You know, he wants to be the greatest whatever at whatever. You know, these he was a history fan. He wanted to be like the greatest historical figure. Anyway, that is true. So this is what he's trying to do. He's putting all of that energy that he really wants to put into his love. It's really sad. And I really want people to understand this twin flame. It has to go somewhere. It's so unbelievably painful. Like, just keeping twin flames apart. If you knew how much pain we feel, you would think it's a terrible thing to keep us apart. And that's why I'm so insistent on having people understand that there's a banking dynasty that has put up all of these blocks between me and my twin flame, who is the reincarnation of Napoleon. I've shown it through the patterns. I've proven it. I can prove things through patterns. It is possible. It's called the preponderance of the evidence. Yes, it's circumstantial evidence, but if there's enough, it is actual proof and it has to be accepted. Okay? I can prove these things. This is my twin flame Napoleon. I've been proving it for 6 months. Okay? So the idea that there's a banking dynasty, okay, that slowly murdered his former manifestation as Napoleon, and the banking dynasty continued, and he came back into these subverted nightmare. Can't even imagine what life was like watching Liverpool crumble around him. What a nightmare. This has been horrible what they've done to England and everywhere else. And we let them, and we watch them do it as they do it. This is a nightmare. And me and him, we can't talk to each other because this banking dynasty is still in power. Can you imagine what that's like for us? And I was Hortense, and they killed her sons. And I can't talk to Napoleon because of them. And the entire media pretends these things are not happening. I understand that we do have sympathizers in there, but that's the people who are in on it. The ones who can't see me are the ones who are in on it. Everybody didn't see it was headed there and that it was really a setup so the public would hate those people. Do you understand? This is so the public will hate those people. Okay? All of you people who don't see me, it's so the public will hate you. Okay? It's a setup. It's under this dynasty, it's setup inside of setup inside of setup. Okay? Anyone who thinks that they have a future with them is dreaming. And I hear this from Elvis. You know, some people are dreaming about where things are going. I hear that a lot. Okay, so here is a letter. Yes. All right. This is Napoleon when he's like, thinks he's winning, but he's not winning. He is being subverted. Okay, because he was so frustrated. The 2 last nights have well rested me, and I'm going to leave tomorrow for Munich. I have ordered Monsieur de Talleyrand, Monsieur Marais to join me. I shall see something of them, and shall then move upon the inn to attack Austria in the bosom of her hereditary domains. I would have liked to see you, but do not count on my sending for you. At any rate, this side in armistice or winter quarters. My love, 1,000 kisses. My compliments to you ladies. Napoleon. Okay? This is so good to go through these regular letters to show you. I want you to see. The banking dynasty did that to him. I want you to see how they subvert people. Okay? He was so warm and living. And then Josephine cheats on him. Why does she cheat on him? 'Cause she's crazy. And she was just almost executed, and her husband was executed. And now she has to figure out how to support herself as somebody who does nothing. So she has to marry somebody. You know, that whole situation is messed up. Okay? So his life has already twisted him up. I showed it to you in the letters. And then in they come, you know? Like, oh, why don't you have some more wars? Why don't you get some more wars going? Oh, you should get some more wars going. You can't see that's how they do it. It's how they do it. And he's like, well, I am miserable. And I guess it would feel good to have a victory or something. And it worked. Okay? This is the subversion of Napoleon. Okay? And then we're trying to find out the truth about Elvis's life. And he was very subverted. We have all been very subverted. That's my point. I can say all these horrible things about him, but they're true of all of us, and we all know it. So no one is throwing stones at him. Absolutely not. No, not me. So we'll do our best. Anyway, so let's hear from Elvis's beautifully written memoirs, and he's talking about this incredible impact that Peter Green had on him with his song Man of the World. And I think about that song a lot. I do reflect on it a great deal to understand what that means. This is so important to him. He really wants everyone to know that this is the real him. He wants to be a good man. He's just so sad, and I love that about him. He wants to be a good man, but he needs support. I know that. We all need support. We're subverted into not being good, but we want to be good. We're not given the support or the means to be good. But we're gonna have to support each other. We're gonna have to be better to each other. We have to change our ways. Absolutely. Okay, so Elvis was saying that he just loved how real Peter Green was, but he loved his R&B as well. Of course. Let me continue. All you could do was stand back and wondering when life would ever start. This was not true of Peter Green, though he was a guitar player of soul and nuance, far beyond both that of his flashier contemporaries and certainly my novice abilities. The humanity of his singing was modest and intimate in a way that felt like he was among us, not above us. His rendition of Need Your Love So Bad, with its superb short opening solo. That was the only guitar break I ever aspired to memorize, was my first acquaintance with the orchestrated blues of Little Willie John, an idiom most gloriously explored by Bobby Blue Bland. That was all up ahead. It mattered less at the time than the intense but ill focused wish for something more than careless fumblings in the dark. For more than a year, I had been taken with the irrational notion that I would one day marry a different, unattainable Irish immigrant girl called Mary. The graceful shape of her leg transfixed me as she touched down. Her vivid eyes seemed confident and self possessed, when perhaps they were simply wary of her new surroundings. Then there was her voice, made of confidentiality, and a catch of laughter that I heard in the hall or from just a short distance away, overheard, never speaking to me directly. I knew not how to approach her or address her. How could I begin to explain? So I went on with my studies and my struggle to master a fistful of chords, never dreaming I would sing to anyone who knew my name. The payoff of Man of the World was not the slightly self-conscious pose of the title, but a dreamy, melancholy musical phrase. It laid out the possibility of happiness in the line, and how I wish I was in love, and how I wish she was with me. On July 21st, I was on my way to play table tennis in a basement youth club and to discuss the moon landing the previous night. I walked into the Lord Nelson pub, 200 yards from my old primary school gates and the parish church, where I had poured wine over the priest's fingers. I looked the landlord in the eye and ordered a pint of beer, my tears and grief to smother. He must have known I was